Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I'm here with a PvE guide. So I got a lot of questions about my main quest or my PvE team in a comment section down in one of my videos. So I decided to go ahead and make a video on it because, I want to answer your guys' questions. So thank you for commenting as well. And if you have any more questions, concerns, or if you want to see some team builds or anything like that, just let me know. Leave a comment. I'll look into it. I'll try to make a video on it if I have the characters, of course. And we'll go from there. So yeah, thank you. So to get started, if you guys don't know what PvE stands for, it stands for Players versus Everyone, which basically just stands for you versus enemies, as in the enemies in the game. So these three right up here are going to be your PvE quest. Clan Battle, I guess, can count as PvE as well. And then the two down here are going to be your PvP. Now, obviously, most people are going to be here for probably the main quest clearing, and maybe dungeon as well, because Grotto is kind of just whatever. Grotto is just your mana quest and your EXP quest that you're able to skip, and you really don't have to attempt them. They cost 0 stamina as well. And then, of course, you have the dungeon here. Now, the dungeon is going to be probably the hardest thing in the game to beat. Now, it doesn't really get hard until you fight the boss at the very end. You're going to have to be a high level in order to complete those bosses. So make sure you guys are not rushing through the main quest and unlocking these as fast as you can, because you can mess yourself up in some way, and you can be super underleveled, especially if you have a good team. You can get super underleveled and you won't be able to complete any of these, especially if you unlock them super quick in the game, which you're probably not meant to unlock them super quick. You're supposed to level up and be alongside the levels of the enemies that you're fighting. And then these are supposed to be the end game content, you could say, that unlocks as you obviously progress further and all that stuff. So as you can see, I have completed the first two. Now this one is extremely difficult. Sheer Cliff Ruins. When I tell you, like, the enemies are around level 49, level 50. The little PvP enemies you gotta fight. But as soon as you get to the boss is level 80. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm only level 54. So it's going to take some time, maybe until you get to around level 70, low 70s, high 70s, before you're actually able to, like, absolutely team wipe that guy. But until then, you're going to be having to make 2 teams of your characters in order to take out this final dungeon. Obviously, I can't pull it up because I've already done it for today. But if you pull it up now, and you guys go ahead and look in your game, if you still are available to do it, because you haven't done it for the day, you'll look through and you'll see that the enemy at the very end, especially if you're on the Sheer Cliff Ruins, which I assume most hardcore players are going to be on the Sheer Cliff Ruins. Maybe some people will be still on Deepwood because they're not progressing further through the story. That's okay. But I think you unlock it on 7 dash. I think it's 7-14 for the final one. I'm not sure. Yeah, 7. So you unlock it on stage 7, you unlock Deepwood Oak at 5. So you unlock the first one at 2. The second one is going to come at 5, right here. Here it is. And then the final one is going to come at 7. And then presumably the next dungeon that is going to come out will come after 8. And I believe it'll be probably in 9 or 10 will be the next dungeon. So whenever they release new story quests, make sure you guys are looking forward to that extra dungeon, which basically just means extra rewards and all that good stuff. Now, as you can see, I haven't completely finished the story yet. I'm going to wait until I get my characters a little bit higher level before I enter the Princess Arena, which as soon as you unlock 8-15, or when you beat 8-15, you will unlock the Princess Arena, and that's really high-end PvP content. So, I mean, it's not... this is a video focused on PvE, so I decided to not include that at all, and we're just going to go ahead and pick a random stage, and I'm going to show you guys how to team build properly around the enemies you're going to be fighting, and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm just going to go and pick a stage that I got a really low score on. Let's go 8-7 here. So if you notice, 8-7, now the main point of the game here is you want to make sure you're looking at the enemies or the monsters you're going to be fighting. So the monsters we're all going to be fighting, I think these are all physical. This guy is a magic, and this guy is a pain in the ass. He hits ridiculously hard. But most of these guys are physical, so you can safely assume that just a physical tank will be enough to put a stop to this monsters here. So if you're having a struggle with realizing what team comp you want to run, and you know you're kind of like you're looking around on the internet, or you're stuck super hard, you can't get that 3-star. If you pull up this little thing right here, this is the most helpful thing. This helped me a lot. If you click on the past parties thing, you'll be able to pull up other players' parties that they used to 3-star this stage. Now you can go ahead and watch what they did. You can go ahead and copy the team format, which I think is really, really awesome. Now, of course, most of these players here, they have high-end 3-stars. You know, you got Nozomi, you have Makoto here, you also have Hatsune, and Monica. Now, this is obviously Yukari, who is extremely good. So Yukari here is obviously their weakest character, but Yukari is also really good for recovering the HP and TP for a teammate, and putting barriers that protects the allies. So Yukari can be really useful. But as I was saying, if you guys are having some struggling and you can't really get past it, you could just go ahead and click this past parties right here, and you'll be able to get maybe a smaller guide instead of pulling up one of my videos. This will probably be the fastest guide to you. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this. Now I'm going to pick my team specifically around involving that magical mage and these physical attackers on the front. So for this, I might go ahead and drop you, because this Tamaki is extremely useful whenever you're going against those cloud enemies. You'll notice them, they'll come out in later down the game. They're going to be the magical clouds that do AoE damage, and they easily melt like every physical team. Now Tamaki here absolutely carries in terms of her damage, because she's going to be attacking the enemy with the highest magical attack, which is usually going to be those big clouds, and she'll be doing good damage to them. She also recovers her own TP. She reduces the enemy's TP, which is, useless in PvE, but in Princess Arena and Battle Arena, that is an also extremely useful ability. So Tamaki here is an extremely good all-around character to have on your team. She can kill PvP very easily, and she also can kill PvE really easily. And I usually like to run a 2-2-1 composition for PvE, and sometimes PvP I'll do a 1-3-1 comp. This is usually probably what I would run in PvP in Princess Arena. The 2-2-1 composition is what I like to run. Now, obviously, every character here can be replaced. Not everyone is going to have Makoto, Jita, and Maho, or even these two down here. But obviously, you can go for the free-to-play build, and you could drop her for Pekarine. You could have Pekarine as your front line, and then maybe you could put in Suzuna in the back line for extra damage. Now, this obviously would be a 1-3-1 composition, which isn't, the best for my personal taste. But you could, mix some characters here and out there. But I found this top team composition to be almost unbreakable in PvE. This physical team will probably get you through 90% of the content in the game. These three in the back line, and then plus the 2 tanks in the front, which is going to be Miyako. And if you guys don't know what Miyako does, she basically becomes invincible. It literally says she's invincible here. She recovers her own TP. She has extremely high physical defense. And on top of that, she heals off of her Union Burst, which is extremely good. And then, if you pair Miyako with Kuka, now Kuka is going to be absorbing magic damage, so it's going to be really useful against those magic enemies. She's also going to be taunting enemies, boosting her own physical defense as well. She has just moderate boost to her own magical defense, and then at the start of battle, she gets an extremely even higher magical defense boost, and her magic defense is also through the roof at 120. So when you combine these two tanks together, you're going to basically get an unstoppable wall. You're going to have a taunter with magical defense against those magical enemies. Then you're going to have her in the front, Miyako, who is going to be invincible, healing, and also going to be nullifying those physical attacks, a lot of them with their extremely high physical defense. And then, as I said, the 2 DPS here, these can be absolutely interchangeable. You can honestly run Suzuna, Exjino as your 2 DPS here. As long as they're high level, it literally does not matter. You can run, even if you want to go for even more defensive build, you could bring Shizuru here, who is going to be applying a physical barrier to everyone around our nearby allies. She's going to be protecting this entire front line from physical damage also. And you honestly could just bring absolutely anyone here. Let's find another good character here that we can bring in. Yeah, you can bring in Hiyori here, who is going to be doing extremely high physical damage as well. You can just honestly change out so many of these DPS characters. But I think the 2 cemented tanks that everyone wants to be running are these 2 on the front line. Especially for most content in the game, as I said, these 2 are going to absolutely carry, and they will not be dying super fast. So for the final support slot, As I said, this can be interchangeable as well. Now, Maho is probably going to be my personal pick because she's going to have that extremely monstrous 142 magical defense. She's going to be really tanky and really survivable against those clouds that I was talking about earlier, those magical clouds which are going to be doing AoE damage. She also will have a moderate boost to her own physical defense at the start of battle, which will increase her already 71 physical defense is okay, but if she increases at the start of battle, which is going to go around to like 100, so her defenses are absolutely insane. Plus, with her ability to blind the enemy in the second position, she's going to be healing the lowest HP member on your team by a moderate amount, and she's also on your unit burst going to be giving a magical attack and physical defense buff to all allies and recovers her TP by a small amount. It's not, you know, the biggest amount in the world, but it is small enough that it can make a difference in some certain scenarios. As I said, Maho is absolutely replaceable. You obviously can replace her with any other healer. For example, you can go ahead and bring Yui here. Now, Yui is probably the best healer in the game. She has that moderate HP ally heal for all allies, and as the game progresses and she gets stronger over time, this group heal ability is going to become absolutely ridiculous. Of course, she's going to be doing a physical defense buff for all allies as well. I think her final EX skill is a just magic strength buff to her. I don't think it's anything special, so that's why I didn't really select and talk about that part. But she's going to be giving a physical defense buff. She's going to be healing. She's going to be doing a decent amount of magical damage to herself. Her defenses are not that good. Her magic defense is actually really good. But, I mean, that's okay because she's going to get physical defense to herself and all allies. And then going to be the healing. So as I said, you can definitely replace her as well. You can even replace her with Chica. Chica is also going to be recovering HP of all allies in front of her by a moderate amount. And she's going to summon a fairy beside the foremost ally. She's going to give a physical attack of all allies in a radius around the foremost ally. So basically that just means if you give it to the foremost ally, which is going to be this front line here, that she is going to buff all four of these. I believe that's how it is going to work. And for the most part, those three are going to be the ones that you're going to probably want to run. Now, Yui is a 1-star, so she is going to be very obtainable for most players to get, especially since you've done maybe like 4 or 5 multis. You should probably have a really high chance of pulling Yui, and Yui can definitely carry you through that content, especially in the endgame content in the game. So that's going to do it for the team composition, I think. And this is what we're going to go ahead and go into with, and watch how easily we 3-star this stage. Now, as you can see, she's going to be taunting herself. She's also going to be, you know, you can see the reason why these two tanks work so well together is look at their HP. Their HP is almost basically the exact same. Now, what I also recommend for most players to do is you do not want to click auto here. Now, auto can be useful. Especially if you're just, you're overpowered for the stage and you just want to rush through it as fast as you can without having to, pay attention to the screen. But whenever I do these higher end stages, I like to not use auto. And what you're usually going to want to do is you just want to stack up your Union Burst until the start of the next fight. So what I mean by that is you're going to use all your Union Bursts at the start, try to kill as many enemies as you possibly can, and then after that is over, you can go ahead and switch to the, and farm up all your Union Bursts here. And basically, all your Union Bursts should be back up in time to start the next wave. So this works really, really well. This is what I extremely recommend for when you're doing dungeon content, PvE content, all that good stuff. As you can see, we have all of our Union Bursts back up, and we'll be able to cut through this final part right now. So we're going to go ahead and activate her taunt, which is going to heal her as well. We're going to use Vegeta's Union Burst, and we're going to let that person die. Then we're going to go to the next person, drop Makoto's, which is going to put a defense debuff on them. We're going to get the heal off with Miyako, going to heal herself, and also do a decent amount of damage. And we should try to cut through these guys as fast as we can before the magical defense runs out on our girl. Vegeta also is going to be recovering her TP very fast. There goes that first monster down. The next guy should go down fairly fast. We're going to go ahead and pop this, which is going to give her defensive buff and also heal her. That guy goes down, and this is an absolute easy 3-star, done, complete, without any struggle. As you can see, literally most of our team is almost at full health. That is also one of the harder stages. That is 8-7, by the way. And we just went ahead and 3-starred that. Now, if you guys are also having a kind of struggling time, you can pull up the damage report here. Now, the damage report is what I like to usually look at whenever I'm trying to compare damage between my enemies and my allies to see, especially if this works really well in PvP, to see which enemies did the most damage to you and what team you should probably run instead on them next time. Now, as you can see, literally, they did almost 0 damage, combined with her extremely good magic defense, her extremely good immune ability, and her physical defense, her having extremely high magical defense, blocking this wizard from killing her as well, and then these two on the front doing over 129,000 damage, and over 250,000 damage combined. Them two together is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see, we absolutely destroyed this event, getting the easy, quick 3-star. And as I said, this is an 8-7, so it's not like I'm going into, like, you know, Stage 5 with a level 50+ team. We are in 8-7, and the enemies here are going to be over level 51. So these enemies are extremely strong. So don't get me wrong, this is not like we just went against a super, you know, weak team. And, I mean, yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think of this PvE guide down in the comment section below. I try to give as much information as I could about what I usually do and what my process is when I'm going through these stages in the main quest. So, yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace out.